Hello, my name is Dylan. I'm a customer success manager over here at Neurons, and I will be doing a platform walkthrough for you today. So the initial screen you'll see here is going to be our platform home base. A couple things I want to make of note. First off is going to be our brand kit section right here. If you click into brand kit, you will be able to upload a PDF file of your brand kit. Quick note, brand kits are a 100-page maximum upload, so anything over that will not be considered in the upload. Next, we can take a look at your folder structure here. Folders are going to be a way for you to organize your home base accordingly if you want to have it broken up in whatever way works best for you, by advertisers, campaigns. As you can see, I have a variety of different advertisers as well as use cases. Then getting up to uploading things in the platform, we have our upload section. This will give us three different options. On the top is going to be static images, be a simple drag and drop of either PDF or upload from your device. Lower left here is going to be our video upload section, and on the right is going to be mixed media ads. So it's going to be anything under 7 seconds long. Think of like GIFs and display banners, display ads. All right, so once we've gone ahead and uploaded a file here, I've gone ahead and uploaded this static image. You will see that it says set up now on the image, so I'm gonna go ahead and click into that. Perfect, and the first thing we'll see here is our objectives. So we want to confirm our objectives and what we are gonna be analyzing in this creative. We have two purposes here, brand building and conversion. Brand building, bringing familiarity to that brand. Conversion, anything that's going to have a call to action, whether it be a buy now, sign up, and anything of that action. So in this case, I do have a brand building ad, so I'm going to select brand building. Under industry, we have a variety of industries from durable good, entertainment media, fast moving consumer goods, health, services. You do want to double check that the AI has picked up the correct industry. In this case, I'm going with any health. And under use cases, this will select our use case for the ad. As you can see here, I have any social media ads selected. We also have display ads, social media ads. We can get more granular, look at Facebook, Instagram, as I had selected any social media. Under products, we have packaging, traditional advertising, out-of-home ads, print ads, as well as websites. So once we go ahead and confirm these objectives, we're going to click through, come to our areas of interest. For areas of interest is where you're selecting the creative's most important elements, ensuring that key and giving us a key and precise analysis. So as we see here, we are given three options: brand, headline text, and product. If we select a conversion before on the objectives, that would give us that call to action selection as well. So looking under our first area of interest, brand, we can see that the Gen AI has already detected several options for us. In this case, I'm going to go with the branding on the left here. Once you select that, you are able to go in and rename your branding accordingly. As we can see, the headline is the text detected up above here. We are able to go in and edit that if we like as well. We can see we have a detected product here. I'm going to select the noon on the branding on the right here. Now, not all the time the Gen AI will detect a brand, headline, or product for you. In this case, you will go in, be able to select this draw button and highlight any areas of interest that you might like here. So let's call this brand 2, and we will put that under branding. You could select other types as well. Perfect, so we'll go ahead and save these AOIs. All right, and this pulls up our Neurons Impact Score. Right off the bat, Neurons Impact Score is a measure of how well a creative is likely to perform based on compared to industry benchmarks. And these industry benchmarks would be the objectives that we selected above. Neurons impact score is rated on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 in the red being the lowest, 10 being the highest. We do rank our score going as a 7 being a good to go ad. Anything under a 7, we will see that it would need to be optimized. So 7 is what we are aiming for in our impact score. Impact score is built up of a variety of metrics, as you can see below. I will be going to these a little bit more in detail, but just off the bat, we can see that our total attention to brand is scoring quite high with a 10, and that start focus is very low with a 4. That's going to even us out to that 7.1. All right, so moving to the left, we will jump into our navigation bar. I'm going to start with the metrics section. Right off the bat, we can see the Neurons heat map. Neurons heat map is going to show us how focused or scattered a user's attention will be. As we can see illustrated here, the heat map is on a red, yellow, and green color scale. Red being the most focused, yellow being scattered focused, and green being further scattered focused, so not quite full attention. We can break down the heat map into several sections. We have our start attention heat map, which is the initial 2 seconds that is drawing attention. We have our end attention heat map is the lasting 2 seconds. Along with the heat map, we do have our fog map, which is another way to look at it just like the heat map where the focus is at. All right, and looking at our metrics below, we do have 4 metrics below you can see, and with these rectangular boxes. The rectangular boxes are going to be our benchmark. That is where we are aiming to get these metric scores at to get us that higher impact score. So as we can see first, we have our focus score as illustrated in the heat map. That's going to be how scattered or focused a viewer's attention is. We do have our engagement metric. This is going to be an emotional response metric based on a viewer's gut reactions. So if they're finding the ad interesting or engaging. We have our cognitive demand heat map. I would like to make note that they do have the benchmark bar right in the middle for a cognitive demand heat map. A cognitive demand heat map being the amount of information a viewer has to process. So on the low end of a cognitive demand score would be like a blank piece of paper and just as headline text up here. So the viewer is not having to process much information. On the high end of a cognitive demand heat map, think of a very busy ad. We like to use the analogy, where's Waldo? You're trying to find one tiny piece of information with a lot going on. And then we have our memory score. The memory score is easy as it sounds, how memorable this ad is. Okay, moving into our areas of interest. Now we can see the areas of interest that we selected on our second selection page. Here is a breakdown of each of our individual areas of interest. We can look at the total attention on this areas of interest, the time spent, as well as the percentage seen, and we are able to look at each one individually. So we can roll down, look at our noon brand here, our brand we selected through the drawing tool, the headline at the top, as well as the product on the right. Perfect. So going back to our navigation bar, we will head up to our Insights tab. While this loads, but it does take a second, I will click down here on our AI chatbot. We do have an AI chatbot help center, and it is very user-friendly. Just make sure you're using natural language process. As we're talking about multiple metrics today, if you forget anything going along, go ahead and ask it a question. So in this instance, I'll say, what is the focus score and from there it gives us a quick breakdown and definition of the focus score along with a link to our Knowledge Center. In the Knowledge Center, you'll be able to find all definitions, breakdowns of any of the metrics we've looked at, any of the areas of interest, how to set stuff up. So a nice place to go and look at for some more information. All right, now that the Insights tab has loaded, Insights tab is going to help us explain what those metrics we talked about actually mean and how they can relate to the overall performance of the ad. First thing we'll see here is the summary. The initial summary provides a quick overview of the impact score and highlights key features factoring and influencing its performance. So if we go up to the upper bar here, we can break it down to some of the metrics we looked at earlier. We have that first glance, those first 2 seconds we discussed. That gives us a quick summary on what is going on during the first glance, as well as which area of interest is receiving that attention. We can look at that with the lasting impression as well. Attention distribution. We can look at each area of interest individually, looking at a summary of what we're seeing going on there and how it builds up to our benchmark. We'll get that with the brand, our product, headline. The others I wanted to note here were the visual engagement insight tab. It's going to be a summary of our engagement heat map and which area of interest is building up into that engagement heat map. We have our visual complexity tab. This is going to be our cognitive demand heat map. So we'll have a summary of that cognitive demand heat map, as well as which area of interest is contributing to that cognitive demand score. And then lastly here we have our memorability tab. That's going to be that memorability heat map and memorability score. It's going to give us a summary of what we're seeing in that memorability score, as well as which area of interest is contributing to that memory score. Moving on from our Insights tab, we will go back over to the navigation bar to our optimization section. Optimization section is going to give us some Gen AI recommendations on where the platform thinks improvements to your ad should go. These recommendations are not end-all be-all recommendations. They are just some of the information that our Gen AI is pulling from the summary to help you guys better make your ad better performing. Now, we do have a feature as well called visual recommendations. Visual recommendations will take these recommended optimizations and put them into a visual mockup. You will be able to click to generate the ads here, but it does take 1 moment to generate. So if you give me a moment, I will pull up an ad that I should already have our optimizations on there. Excellent. So once you get your inspirational mockups, you are going to see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mockups. The first 4 will be built on the recommendations on the left. As we can see, we have a couple of different ones here. And the 5th will be a creative wildcard. Creative wildcard, just as it sounds, it's going to fall outside of the regular recommendations and give just a fun mock-up to kind of help on maybe some creative flow or inspiration. So back to the visual recommendations here. We can see from our original ad to the new variant, we can look at which key changes were made. We can look how this impacts the neuron impact score, as well as the scores that build up to this. On the bottom right-hand corner here, you can see save as a new asset. We are able to take this new variant, save it as a new asset. It will be put onto your main platform screen. And from there, you are able to reset it up as a new asset, setting up new objectives, new areas of interest, as well as new optimizations and regenerating it further if you would like. Back to the home base. So I know a lot of people are doing a lot of A/B testing. We do have our compare feature. I do have another advertisement here. A similar brand, 2 different ads. I'm going to go ahead up to the top here, put it in compare mode. That will give us a quick A/B test. It's going to show us which score is performing higher, the metrics building up into that, as well as we are able to see all the scores that build up into this. So a much more granular breakdown of why ad A is performing better than ad B. Additionally, we have our download feature here. We're able to download any of these results from these ads in CSV files, raw results, PDF results, as well as presentation results. Presentation results will give us a nice PDF PowerPoint presentation that has everything from the walkthrough that I was showing you, from the metrics to the insights to the recommendations. All right, moving along to videos. Perfect. So videos being very similar to our static images, we will be setting up a purpose, conversion or brand building. We'll be setting up our industry and our use case. The difference on the use case here, we do have our TV advertising as well as TikTok feeds, Instagram feeds, Facebook feeds, and daily emotion feeds. So we're able to get granular on our objectives there. Another key difference between videos and static images will be under our metrics section. We will still have the fog map from before, or I apologize, the heat map from before. This will follow the viewer's attention throughout the duration of the video. We are able to also look at in the fog map view. A note on this page, instead of the Insights tab, we do have the Insights here on the upper right-hand side, as well as our brand building impact and how everything is building up into our impact score. Now, looking below at the metrics section here, we do have a living metrics bar. We are able to filter these out by clicking on each individual metric here, making this bar much more visible. So in this case, say we wanted to look at the focus score compared to the memory score. We were able to view just these two metrics, one metric, or we can add them all into the bar as well here. Now, moving on from there, we have our areas of interest. In this case, we are able to edit some areas of interest within this video. So if we're going up to edit areas of interest, we will see confirming our areas of interest here. We are able to auto-select several options that the platform is choosing for us. We also have the ability to go in and draw in an area of interest. We can do it in several instances here. These do take just a minute to load here. Once they finish loading, you'll go ahead and press the selection down here on the bottom right. I will show you an ad that has already been completed. As you can see from before, I selected this bear as well as the Pepsi can and had the auto detection of the Pepsi can there as well. So I can go in, play the ad. The areas of interest that I selected here will follow throughout the entirety of the video. So as we just selected this one image of the polar bear, now we are seeing him throughout the video every time he comes up in any instance. As well as the Coke cans and the Pepsi cans that we have chosen as well. And the last note on our video tabs here, we as well have the optimized recommendations here. So you're able to read through and see what our Gen AI has pulled as some recommendations that you could take the video in. Perfect. Well, I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough sessions today, and thank you for your time.